Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another YouTube video, and I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be recording my official Q&A, aka question and answer, AMA, Ask Me Anything video today. As of right now, we have around 30 to 40 questions that I'm going to be answering in regards to my career, some of the things that involve me to get to my career, and I've put it also in some sort of like chronological order so you guys can see some sort of time frame of how everything happened. Thank you to everybody who asked questions. Thank you to everybody who got involved in this Q&A. I'm very excited to be speaking about my career and hopefully enlighten you guys on some things that you may have wanted to know about me, or some things that you guys may have been curious about. With all these questions, I'm going to try and keep them as detailed but as specific as possible. I'll try not go on too many tangents because the video will be very, very long if I end up doing that. But listen, kick back, relax, and hopefully you learn something new about me today. Let's roll into the video. Question 1, what was my career previous to streaming? So if you weren't to know, I have a degree in events management, and before streaming I've worked in events, I've worked in business, that's setting up events, I've worked in retail, I've done a lot of hours for very little money before, and it's some of them industries are not rewarding at all in regards to how people like speak to you, how you're treated and whatnot. And then the job before this, I actually worked in retail sales and also retail field marketing, which was a good job. I managed my own area, my own outlet of around 350 stores, working with different companies, making sure that the products were in certain stores, were they priced correctly, how are we doing versus competitors, and just generally just looking at sales and field marketing analysis. Really enjoyed that. And then I moved into streaming and I never looked back. Question number 2, how old was I when I first started streaming? So I began streaming at the age of 26 and my first official streaming date was February the 4th, 2018. Question number 3, what got you into streaming and what would you suggest for others when trying to become a full-time streamer like yourself? So I've actually been on Twitch, aka it was Justin TV when I first started watching around 9 years ago. I got into streaming / gaming through the online platform when Halo 3 started becoming like more of a pro game, like COD 4 Halo 3 days, and I really enjoyed watching, MLG pros and all the pro players back then. The pro scenes were a lot smaller back then to what they are now in terms of like crowd viewing, all that kind of stuff, and that just kind of got me into watching streams, and I love the whole competitive esports side of things. If you watch my streams, you know I'm very competitive myself, and a friend of mine who I met from Modern Warfare around 7-8 years ago convinced me 2 years ago to actually start streaming myself. He was telling me for years, you should do it, you should give it a try. I always said, no, I haven't got the equipment, I'm not ready for it, I'm not gonna do it. This isn't going to be for me. And then one day when he just kept saying it, I just thought, you know what? I have a single PC here. Why not? Let's give it a try. And from when I first started streaming up to now, I've been addicted ever since, and I've never ever looked back. And it's made me, and it's changed my life, and it's been the most beautiful experience ever. In regards to a full-time streamer, that's a whole different ballgame and a whole different question. If you're looking at full-time streaming, have a look at my full-time video that I've got on my YouTube channel. It's one of my older videos. That's a whole different ballgame, and when you want to become a full-time streamer, you've got to consider lots of things like finances, time, management, how you're going to get there, is it stable, how does it fit to your current life situation, etc, etc. Way too much to cover on today's video, unfortunately. All right, next we go into question number 4. How did you establish your brand, and how long did it take me to do that? So I think with branding, like I always came into the game with a set idea. I always wanted to be Stallion. Stallion's always been my nickname throughout school, and because I was always known as an Italian stallion. I got Italian parents, so it kind of all made sense really. And I love horses, so it kind of made sense really. So I had my sense of branding. I had my sense of what I wanted to do from the very start. Stallions are very majestic, powerful, strong, energetic horses, and I wanted that to be represented in my branding. Bright colors like the blue that you can see, that the horse that you can see right here. I wanted him to be like, angry, energetic, all that kind of stuff that we just spoke about. It was all about knowing and capturing what the Stallion brand was going to be, and we built that up after a couple of months, probably within the first year, at some point just after the first year of streaming, after speaking to Art by Saint and him creating and bringing to life exactly what I wanted my brand to look like and what I wanted it to be. In terms of my brand outside of graphics, the Stallion brand has always been the same. For me, it's all about creating high energy, good energy, and for people to enjoy themselves when they're in and around the channel. So in my opinion, you should be thinking about your brand from day one. What is it that you want to be known as, not just graphics wise, and how do you establish yourself for it to be different to everybody else? What are people gonna, when they see your name, what they're gonna know you for and what they're gonna know you as? All right, next question, we're going into how much hours do you put into content creation outside of streaming? My whole life is pretty much content creation, even outside of streaming. So when I'm not in front of the camera, so my usual day would be waking up, uploading up to different social medias, and then if it's a streaming day, uploading, catching up with notifications, making sure that I'm ahead on everything, make sure I've got all my projects, meetings all up to date. Then it'll be like stream 8 hours a day, and then after that it'd be upload again to socials, make sure my notifications that I've missed during them 8 hours of streaming are all caught up. and then crack on and make sure that tomorrow's projects are ready to go as well. So it's non-stop. If you wanted to know how many hours I put into content creation with streaming as well in a week, you're looking at probably around 80 to 100, maybe even a little bit more sometimes. It's an all day, everyday thing for me right now. And it doesn't have to be, I'd say, this extreme, but I care a lot about my my job, my career. I've come too far and I'm just very happy to where I am, and I just want to succeed in this. I've got something very good going for myself right now, and I just don't want it to ever end. And as long as I keep putting my foot on the gas and I keep looking to create motivation for myself, keep inspiring, keep pushing, then I know I can keep going and taking myself further and further, because I've got this fire in 2 years just learning from people around me, from things around me, and I know I can keep that going. Next question: what were some of the things you were doing as a streamer when you got started and had to help yourself get noticed? It was actually funny because, you know, fate is a big thing, and my whole Stallion streaming community all started because I left a different community, which I'm obviously not going to name and shame or anything like that, but I left a different community who were not looking after their members, who were, you know, clearly didn't look like they were appreciating the people that were there. And I created a place where people could come in and have somewhere where they know they feel like they're looked after. I find myself to be a leader of sorts, and I think people aspire to somebody who is kind of a leader, somebody who's able to lead, somebody who looks after the community, someone who is really appreciative of their community. So helping yourself getting noticed, especially when you first start, is looking at the people who are doing really well and asking what parts of what they're doing already can I take and spin it into my way to make myself do well as well. You know, community management, you're looking at incentives for different subscribers and different things. You're looking at constantly improving your brand and how the stream looks, how does it run, how can it look better. Think about your user experience, think about everything from start to finish logistically, from, you know, the whole process of what you're doing to streaming live, to all the back end processes, to could you be working smarter rather than harder? You know, it's a whole ball game, and it's always been that same process, just constantly developing and working on it further and further throughout my career. Next question: have you ever doubted yourself to the point where you thought of quitting? If so, what made you stick with it and continue streaming? So I've burnt out twice, and what I mean by burnout is I put so much effort into things and had several outside factors and variables kick in that have made me either want to quit streaming or that have made me think maybe this isn't right for me anymore, you know? So I've been lucky enough to always pretty much see growth since I first started. There's been times where I've stagnated and dropped as well, you know, it happens to all of us. And rather than thinking about quitting, I usually have either taken a break, because I can't see my life without streaming anymore. Streaming is life. Like, hitting that go live button just makes my day. It makes my entire week. Getting to speak to all them people, playing my favorite games in the world, aka Call of Duty right now, my favorite franchise in the world, and just being able to do that and classing this as my full-time career is just, it's still surreal to me these days. But in regards to, you know, thinking of quitting and whatnot, unfortunately I had a very toxic relationship before the relationship that I'm in now, and that put a lot of pressure and strain onto my career. You know, you've probably heard of loads of people who have either broke up during streaming because of either toxic relationships, or they can't manage their time properly, or there's a lot of pressure coming from an outside factor that's influencing them on their streams that they're not happy about. And sometimes, as much as you try your best to manage everything and to try and make time for both factors, eventually one of them gives way and says, I can't do this anymore. Or, you know, there's something that happens where you're not able to do both anymore. So that's probably as close as I've got to quitting, was when I experienced my burnout in November 2018. It was just after I went full-time, which I went full-time in October 2018, around 8 months after I started streaming, and I wasn't getting any sleep. I felt really bad about my content. I knew I wasn't working hard enough. I just remember at one point sitting there in my stream while streaming, and somebody came in and told me, they said, Stanley, you look really tired. Like, you don't look like yourself. You look really out of character, and you've not been yourself the last few weeks. I knew at that point, something clicked. From that message and that comment at that point, something clicked. I knew something had to change. I thought, my career is taking a dive right now. This can't be happening. You know, I've only been a full-time streamer for a month now. I need to sort this out. Funnily enough, I ended up coming out of the relationship 4 months later, and I went, you know, head first into my content, just flying with it. And I've seen nothing but amazing things since then. And obviously I've got my girlfriend who's fully appreciative of my career. I met her through my career and whatnot. So it's crazy how different life circumstances can make you go. But listen, if you're ever thinking about quitting, if you're going to quit because you don't enjoy it anymore. But if there's any other reason you're going to quit because you're thinking about the numbers aren't enough, or that you're not making enough money, or you're doing this or doing that, that all comes in time. That comes with hard work and effort. The only time I would say quit is if you don't enjoy the process anymore. If there's any other factor on it, stick with it, enjoy it. Just remember why you started it in the first place. So moving on to the next question, and this one's making me smile quite a little bit because I don't really know how to reply with this one. Is how do you feel now that you know most of, if not all of your community consider you one of the greatest streamers of all time? I don't really know what to say, to be honest, with stuff like that. With all the millions of streamers out there, and millions, thousands, I don't know how many streamers there are out there these days, but I just put my heart and soul into it, man, and I love what I do. I try and create a really good and positive yet still competitive and enjoying atmosphere when it comes to myself and my streams, and always trying to bring that good vibe across. So to hear that from the community, and I've been told it in like Discord and other different messages and other ways, and I don't know, it's always hard to hear when it's easy for you to say that to, in my opinion, it's easy for you to say that to somebody else and be like, you're an inspiration, you're doing amazing. But when someone says it to you, it's a whole different feeling, because you're that person that people are looking up to. And I don't know, I guess like I just try and do my thing and post my content out and push myself as much as possible, and to have people like really inspired by the journey and consider me, I don't know about as far as great, it's one of the greatest of all time, but to have people consider me as a really great streamer just makes me feel good in myself, and just makes me want to keep creating content and pushing and striving for even better things. So thank you for that question. Another question I've got is, do you think your IRL suffered when you were seriously making traction? Did you have a balance, and how? Good question. IRL has definitely suffered at times, but it's all about sacrifices and time management. So you have to understand that at this point, once I decided to make it a full-time career, that this was never going to be just a joke. I was never just gonna say, oh yeah, this is my full-time career, woohoo, I'm now a full-time content creator. No, as soon as I made that statement, I went heads first into content and put my head down, and I wanted to learn. I wanted to create, and I knew that something special was happening here. For how fast I got the partnership, for how fast I built a community, for where we are in just over 2 years, I know that something's very special in this channel and myself, and with what we've got going on right now. So I know that as long as I manage my time properly, and that I am smart about what I'm doing and the way that I choose to make my decisions and where I put my time, that I'll be able to do this whilst also managing the rest of my life. In terms of IRL, sometimes it can be hard to find an hour of the day to even get anything done. Days like today are very busy, where I'm recording like 3-4 YouTube videos. I've got to record like 3-4 TikTok videos. I have meetings all the way from 4 till to 11 p.m. tonight. That doesn't leave any time for me to do anything else apart from record and get things done. However, would I change that for the world? Definitely not. There are times where I kind of wish I did have an hour or two just to maybe like go to the gym or go out for a run, or maybe have a little bit more time for myself. However, I also look at how motivated I am and how inspired I am from seeing other people succeed to make it. I want to be one of them people. There is no if it's going to happen, it's when, and I'll make sure of that by constantly staying consistent, improving my content, listening to feedback, and pushing myself to be the best content creator possible. So IRL definitely suffers, but it's worth it. This is my life. This is the life I've chosen. I'm very happy with it. Next question. How do you stay motivated when you see a lack of growth? Wow, that's a very good question. And this goes down to some of the breaks that I've had before as well. Not including my blowout, but I had another break at June 2019 where I took a whole week off streaming because I just felt like my content had no direction. I was losing followers left, right, and center on even Twitch. Like all my social medias were all dropping, everything was in the red, and it just felt like I was preaching to a wall. I felt like I was preaching to a wall. I felt like nobody was seeing my content. I felt like nothing was going right, and I just sat there and I just always wondered, why is nothing going right for me? Like, what am I doing wrong? And what is going on here? My motivation was starting to leave. I kind of felt like nothing was working. And what I did is I just took a week break and I just kind of taught myself out of it. I thought, you know what, I've come so far. Why am I allowing myself to sit here and be either ungrateful about things or allowing the color red to really, push me in the other direction? And it happens. When streamers see that color red, when things start to drop, man, we all get inside our own heads, bro. We all become our worst enemies. We'll start sitting there doubting ourselves, wondering why is this not working anymore? What's going on? What's wrong? So what I did is I just went back to the drawing board. I just thought, how is it, or what is it that I can do to make things fresh again? How can I push myself? And it was funny enough, it was after this week where I found out that, Call of Duty Modern Warfare was coming out later this year, and I started to plan my move away from variety streaming and into single game streaming. And that was the best decision I ever made for my career because all my numbers have flown up since then. I have direction, I have motivation. It's all about, sometimes you just need a little bit of a break, think about things and just realize how far you've come from when you first hit that going live button to now. Guarantee no matter where you are in your career, you've made a lot of progress. Next question, would you change anything about your journey on Twitch so far? So I'm not really a man of regrets. I triple think things before I do them on the most part. Would I change anything? If I had to change anything, it would be the way that I used to run my Discord server. And a few people know about this, some people don't. I never did anything malicious or anything like that, but back in the day, before the SSC was what it is now, it was a support for support server. And what I mean by that is we tried to help people get to like affiliate. We tried to help people go for partnership. We were like trying to push people's average viewer counts up. We were trying to support people, coordinate raids and groups and all that kind of stuff. And as fun as that is, it was very dwelling on both my own health, at the time, the staff's health, and putting unnecessary pressure on everyone's career when it didn't need to be there. It was false support and false interaction. And what I mean by that is the only way, and I'm telling you this now, the only way to grow on Twitch is to do it via content. If anyone offers you any kind of other solution when it comes to just skipping corners or skipping things or saying that you can get partner easy, you can do this easy, there is nothing that comes easy. If it's easy because you're just hitting that process. I guarantee it will have some sort of negative implication for you. Getting to partnership should never be forced. It should be there and done via your content and building a community from yourself. That's the only way it's going to work. That's the only way that when you hit partnership, it's going to stick afterwards as well. So the only thing that I regret is running my community as a support for support. I used to believe that back in the day, that was the way, that was the way to do it. It's definitely not. I love the way that the SSC is now. It's all about just coming in there, making friends, and using it as a place to just kind of talk about things if you want to talk about it, talk about Call of Duty, meet new viewers, streamers, COD players, whatever. And there's no pressure on anyone to do anything. Ever since then, even though I lost a lot of so-called friends who said they were going to stick by me after that all happened because they were only in there for the support, I'm much better off without it, much better off without them, and I'm happier than ever. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. How many subs and viewers would it take for you to miss subs and donos, or do you think you'll always stay on top? That's something that I've always kind of thought about. So recently I've actually had to get rid of stream loots because I can't keep up with it anymore. And what I mean by that is just keep up with all the different like dares and different things that I'm having to do with people using cards. And it's just not feasible for how fast my stream is moving right now. My chat's constantly moving faster than I've ever seen it before. Everything's always flying. I'm playing a very fast-paced game, and to try and manage stream loops on top of that is not feasible for me anymore, unfortunately. So I think it's about adapting to the situation. I think eventually it might even get to the point where I have to turn my follower sound off because all you hear is, oh, friend, every 10 seconds. But we haven't quite got to that point yet. But if that ever does happen, then I'll have to think about that. In terms of subscriptions and donations, I'll always do my best to keep on top of that. I run 3 screens for a reason, one of them for chat, one of them for the game, one of them for MISC. And on that MISC screen, I can always see who's subscribing and donating or doing anything like that, and always make sure to thank people. Obviously, once you get to the level of, if anybody ever gets lucky enough to get to the level of, Dr. Disrespect or Nick Mercs or anyone of that sort of size, then you've got to see it as a whole different ball game. You can only catch chat so fast, you can only answer so many questions before you lose your mind, and you can only catch so many subs and donos, or else you'll end up just reading the whole stream of subs. So I will try my best to always keep on top of it, and we'll just take it day by day, and to the point of where I say, right, I need to maybe have to sacrifice this, but I'll always be super thankful of everything that everyone's ever done for me and everything that people continue to do for me. Any recommendations for someone wanting to build their own PC? So I would if you can, avoid pre-builds. And what I mean by pre-build is something that comes all together already in one. I know that may seem like the easier option, but there's a reason for that easy option. Is generally you won't get as good specs for your money, and they'll bump up the price just because it's already built. If you know somebody who can build them, or you do some research and find out yourself on how to build a PC, you can get a much better PC buying it piece by piece using websites like Overclocker. You can use Newegg or PC Part Picker, whatever it is you want to use. Go on their websites, have a look at what pieces go with what, buy them individually. It'll work out a lot cheaper for you, and if you've got somebody who can put it all together, it works out even better for you. So that's what I'll recommend. Stay away from pre-builds if you can. It doesn't really matter too much if it's only a cheap PC or if it's your first ever PC. Maybe if you want to go really cheap, feel free to go with a pre-build. However, I would recommend to get your pieces separate and try and get somebody who can build it for you if you don't know how to do it. Next question, what was your proudest achievement of your streaming career so far? That's a tough one because I don't know if I should use that as like milestones. So obviously when I'll never forget the day that I hit affiliate, like never ever forget it. And when I got my first ever subscription, I was playing Borderlands 2. I remember this like wasteland map. I remember getting my first Twitch Prime, and I was like the happiest streamer in the world. I was like, oh my God, I've just got a subscriber. Like somebody's paid money. It was a Twitch Prime, of course, but somebody has somehow in some way paid money to supporting me in my content. It was great. It was such a good feeling. And even though I used to run like a really bad PC setup back then, I still don't take for granted how important that is. That same viewer is now a 27-month sub to me, and is still my first ever subscriber, and still comes through and checks up on me every month because he knows how appreciative I am of him and his support ever since day one. Apart from that, it would have been partnership. When people knew how bad I wanted to get partner back in the day. It was my 5th application, and when I found out that I achieved partnership on Twitch, I dropped my phone, my hands were shaking, I couldn't breathe, I was shouting. My mum ran upstairs to find out what was going on. I was on the phone to a friend, I was like screaming down the phone, like, I hate partner. So I would say affiliation and partnership were 2 of my proudest moments so far. And I think every day is just a proud moment or a proud achievement, just to know that we've got another day to, create content and hopefully inspire and push people out there to go further with their lives and make them realize that they can do great things in this world as well. Where did you get your name from, and what brought you to the gaming community for COD? So we briefly explained the name Stallion and where I got the name Stallion from. Growing up as a kid, people always called me or referred to me as, in terms of a nickname, as the Italian Stallion. Parents were Italian, family have always loved horses, so it kind of just made sense to run with the name Stallion. And plus, I like everything behind the brand as well. I like the name, I like the word, I like the whole, majestic, strong horse with, big energy. It kind of just fit. It just fitted everything, so Stallion was always going to be perfect. So that's where I got my name from, and that's why it always just kind of stuck. It was with me ever since I was a kid, so Stallion was what it was. And what brought me to the gaming community for Call of Duty, so I've actually been playing Call of Duty ever since 2006. I was playing on COD 3, just like the storyline and campaigns and stuff. And then in 2007, when they released COD 4, I got hooked. I got hooked big time, and I fell in love with the whole COD game, the franchise, the scene, and I've played every single one pretty much since then. And from 2007 all the way to 2020, here I am, still in love with the franchise. They've had some pretty bad games over that time, but it happens, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, on the most part, I would say it's a big step back in the right direction. So yeah, I'd say I'm fairly an OG when it comes to the COD community. I've been around for a long time. I feel like my age is showing a little bit now. And what brought me to the love for it was my love of FPS games, and it just felt like an overall great, balanced and competitive game, and I never looked back since then. Next question, do you think a single game focus is better than popular variety? Good question. I was a variety streamer for 1.5 years, and the reason that I never moved into a single game focus before that is because I never really had something that I wanted to purely focus on. Call of Duty at the time had just released BO4 when I moved to PC. BO4 was an okay game when it came out, however it didn't have any crossplay, which made it hard to play with viewers. And the PC scene died out very quickly on that. And I don't know, with variety streaming, it just kind of felt like, when you're doing variety streaming, it feels like picking a direction for content can be really tough, because you're playing different games, you're expecting people to keep up to date with more of you than the game that you're playing. Some streamers make it work. People like Lyric is absolutely a fantastic person, but he can play whatever he wants, and he'll have 20 to 30,000 people watching him. He's a great example for that. It's hilarious. He's been around for a long time. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's better than variety, but I would say it's easier to pick a particular direction to focus your content on than variety. However, there are bonuses and negatives to both. I won't go into too much detail because I have a video on that already if you want to take a look at that in terms of single player versus variety streaming. And one of the main ones is that if the game dies and the franchise dies, then what's going to happen to you and your channel? I picked Call of Duty because I knew that it's been around for a long time. Unless something was severely, really bad to happen, I think COD is always going to be a relevant game, no matter what, or no matter how mainstream or non-mainstream it gets. I always feel like Call of Duty is at least always relevant in terms of variety. Depending on what you class yourself as variety, whether that's 2 or more games, then it's going to be tougher to pick just one content avenue to go down. So if you're going to do variety, you have to really think about how you're going to do it and how you can keep and capture your audience. However, if you're doing a single game focus, it's a lot easier to go down one particular direction and focus your content on one way. Next question, do you maintain a social life IRL, and how so, with all the work that you put into social streams and the overall amount of content you put out? So we had a similar question to this before in regards to balancing work life and do I maintain some sort of social life and such. For the most part, I maintain a social life. If I want to go visit my girlfriend, or if I'm going out on a night out or something, I'll make sure work's done around that. It's the same as, working a full-time job. If you've got plans with friends, you make sure that your work's done first, and then you go and do that. On the most part, I would say I don't really have too much of a social life, especially at the moment right now, because I'm posting out content more than ever before. However, I love what I do, and what I do is fun, and I really enjoy it, and I'd be doing this anyway. So in regards to a social life, what I'm doing right now makes me just as happy. And obviously bad virus is not helping the situation right now, but even when that virus is gone, I work most of the time and then use like Saturday nights and Saturday days to have time for myself and do my own thing. So I always try and make a little bit of time, but when you love what you do, man, it doesn't feel like work, you know? Next question, with all the success this year already, where do you aim to be at the end of the year? The stars are the limit, my friend. You know, I've already pretty much beat every single goal that I was planning to do this year. You know, I had 2,000 members in Discord. If we're talking like numerical goals, it was like 25,000 followers on Twitch, almost there already, not even halfway through the year. And that was a high goal that I set myself. That was double my last count before the year even started. So we're already nearly at 24K. So that we're gonna smash that. It was like 2,000 on Instagram, smash that. 2,000 members in the Discord, smash that. It was like 20K on Twitter. We're working towards that one right now. Twitter's obviously a tough one, but if that one gets hit, it is what it is. In terms of subscribers, average viewer counts, I never even did TikTok at the start of the year. So now that I'm doing TikTok, that's a whole new avenue that I'm smashing, you know? And I'm just pushing myself. And I have a lot more goals that I want to be achieving this year, ones that I didn't even know existed at the start of the year. Where do I aim to be? I aim to be somewhere very, very special by the end of this year. Look what we've achieved in 6 months. Now that we've already created and established ourselves in the first 6 months of this year, who knows where we're going to be by the next 6 months this year. I'm very excited to find out. Next question, how did you grow your viewer count, subs and followers so fast over the last 2 years? So we've touched over this question briefly on other questions. A lot of it is to do with consistency. I've only ever taken like 2 breaks from this whole process, and they've been like either 1 week at a time from either a burnout or from either me just taking a bit of time to think about things. Very consistent. I'm talking every single day, no excuses. You're going to be posting out on your socials, grow, push yourself, you know, keep your content and stuff fresh, make it so it's engaging. How can you grow from other social media platforms? How can you do other things to push yourself? So it's pretty much, it's having that ethic and drive to work. It's not just about turning that stream on, doing a couple of hours, going off and going, right, cool, I'm all done for the day. I never stop. I literally never stop. From the moment I wake up, I think, right, I need to post to TikTok. I want to post to Insta. I want to post to Twitter. Let me check YouTube. Let me see how my latest video is going. Twitch, am I going to be streaming today? What time? If so, am I ready for my stream today? Just before I go to bed, I think, right, what more can I post out on social media to help and grow my brand? Right, am I ready for tomorrow morning's post? It's a non-stop process. It's about getting in the mindset of this being your own business and how can you drive it to push it. A lot of people think that just because it's streaming, that either you don't take it too seriously as it being your own business or seeing it as something that is a business. End of the day, this is your brand, this is your business. You need to treat it like one if you want to grow. All right. Next question. What PC specs did I start off with streaming? And if you could play any other game apart from Call of Duty that you haven't played before, what game would it be? PC specs, very, very basic. I started with one basic screen, which is now my chat screen. So this one I'm talking to you guys on right now, but this screen is now flipped. And in terms of PC specs, very basic. We're talking like, I don't even know what my graphics card and stuff was right back then, but we were talking like 8GB of RAM, very basic CPU, very basic graphics card. Even Skyrim would lag. You know, Skyrim on the lowest settings would lag, glitch. I'd get like blue screens and stuff at times. And it was very, very frustrating. But, you know, you start somewhere and it makes you really grateful when you get better equipment to how good your equipment can be and how good you can get to if you really invest your time and money and you think smartly about what you do. In regards to any other game but Call of Duty that I've never played before, what would it be? Probably Rainbow Six. Now, I've always had a soft spot for that game. I like watching Rainbow Six a lot. I like the competitive side of it. It's really interesting to watch. I love how skilled the pro players are. And if I was to ever, I guess, try a game that I haven't tried before and play something that isn't Call of Duty, I think Rainbow Six would really much take my fancy. Just don't have the time to learn it. Next question. Are you worried about only Call of Duty streaming and having your main growth with it? What if the next COD turns out to be the worst game ever? Absolutely amazing question. And this is something we spoke about previously on a different question as well, is that with one game streaming, that's the risk that comes with it. You know, when you make a one game or one franchise your pure focus on stream, what happens if that franchise dies? What happens if that franchise no longer decides to put money into it? What happens if the next game isn't what you want it to be? That's just the risk that comes with it. I am confident with Call of Duty, and for being a fan for so many years, that I will at least be happy going through. I've met a lot of friends when it comes to Call of Duty, so I know I'll at least have my friends and, you know, player base and friends to always play with when it comes to a kind of the Call of Duty game. I think it's important that before you ever decide to be a one game streamer, that you really put faith and you really do your research in the game and the whole publisher that's behind it. Is it stable? Is it going to be okay? What's the previous games look like? How relevant is it going to be in the future? And with Call of Duty, with it being around for so long and with it being a game that I've loved for nearly 15 years now, I knew I could put my heart and soul into this, and if it ever does die out, we'll worry about that when it comes to it. Next question. When you're feeling off streaming, how do you litigate yourself to push yourself on and keep on going with a positive attitude? You want me to be completely honest? I don't think I've ever really felt off streaming. Apart from, you know, we spoke about the burnout and the breaks that I took and whatnot. And even then, like, that was more to do with like social media and managing my time around streaming. I don't think I ever fell off of streaming. I don't think I've ever not wanted to hit that go live button. You know, I don't remember one time sitting there in the last 2.5 years where I've sat there and gone, do you know what, I don't want to do this today. I can't be bothered, or unless I've been hungover. Actually, that's a lie. If I've been hungover, then yes, there have been times where I've cancelled some streams and just gone, right, I'm going to chill today. But I haven't done that in a long time now. We're talking probably like a year, because I know how serious this is, and you know, I don't want to be deviating away from my schedule, because like I said, consistency is very important. So if I'm going to get drunk, it's going to be on a day where the next morning I know I'll be okay, or, you know, do it on when I've got a day off the next day. But yeah, in regards to keeping myself going with positive attitude, man, I'm just super grateful for everything that I've got. I'm just very happy doing what I do. Whether it was ever going to be a full-time thing or not, I never got into this purely to do it full-time. It just kind of happened, and you know, I keep the same energy and keep things rolling every single day, and I love what I do, and I'm just building a community every single day, and we just keep it going, man, you know? Next question, if you had to leave gaming and streaming behind, what would you pick up as a new hobby or job? Oh, wow. Okay, if I have to leave gaming behind, that's pretty much my whole day open, you know, because gaming has been my life ever since probably the age of like 4 or 5 years old. I wouldn't even know. Probably go back to playing football. I always used to enjoy playing football back in the day. I've been playing drums for around 7 to 10 years. I'm not that good anymore, because I only play it very, very occasionally, but maybe go back to drumming, football. In terms of a job, go back to working in events and sales and stuff. I would love to do DJ and stuff. But again, it's about having time and effort and all that kind of stuff, and buying the proper pieces of equipment and whatnot. I'd say a new hobby would definitely have to be either football, going back to drumming, or learning DJing. And as for a job, I'd go back to what I was doing before in terms of events and sales, until I found something else that I was really passionate in. Next question, where do you see yourselves in 5 years' time? The classic question. Who doesn't love that? Man, well, considering I've come this far in 2.5 years, and you see the first year of your streaming as the, you know, the establishing year. So realistically, I've come this far in like a year. If I'm to keep pushing myself and growing at the rate that we're going right now, for 5 years' time, I want to be one of the biggest on the platform, without doubt. You know, whether it's in the Call of Duty platform, whether it's in another platform, I want to be one of the biggest on my platform. I want to be one of the most well-known, respected. I want to still be pushing content out every single day. I want to be living in my dream home. I want to make sure my friends and my supporters and my OGs are all well off as well. Look after my family, girlfriend, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like I said in a previous question, the star's the limit. In 5 years' time, I want to have, as they like to call it, have made it, you know, be verified on all platforms, be someone who's looked up to by a lot of people, to say, you know, this guy started with nothing and no one. He's made it. He's really put the hard work in, and be like, yeah, I've been doing this for 7.5 years now. People are like, whoa, that's a long time. Inspire the next generation, you know? So the next 5 years, even the next half a year, I want to be pushing towards the top. You know, stars are the limit, and ain't nobody going to stop me. We keep going. Next question, if you could do anything else as a career, what would it be? So again, previous to another question, probably if I could do it and I knew how to do it, I'd love to know how to DJ, because that would be awesome. I think I pretty much do it on stream anyway, just not with the decks or anything, just kind of, you know, for fun and whatnot. I think DJing would be so much fun. I think I've got the energy, and people say that I've got a radio broadcaster's voice, so maybe even like radio sets and all that kind of stuff, you know, who knows. But I think DJ radio or some sort of music career would be awesome, and yeah, I'd probably go with something like that if I wasn't doing this. What is the end goal for you in terms of streaming? So similar to the 5-year question, in terms of end goals, I think it's important that you never set yourself an end goal. You know, when it comes to streaming or content creation, there is no end goal, and that is all about your motivation. And look at people like Ninja, for example, right? That guy came out of nowhere, blew up, and could easily have stopped where he was and went, you know what, I've done it, I've made it, who cares anymore? You know, I can just do whatever I want. That guy's still, you know, creating his legacy. You know, when he partnered with Adidas for the Americans, or whatever it is that he's doing right now in terms of all of his pushes. These people are so ambitious that they never stop. And my end goal is just to never stop. There is no end goal. And you know what? I like it that way. Some people may be scared that there is no end goal. Some people might put some people off to know that it's a never ending journey. But that, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, is the beauty of streaming and content creation, is that there's no end goal, and as I can just keep pushing myself, and who knows where I'm going to end up. So now we've got a series of bonus questions that we're going to be answering. There's around 8 questions or so. These were either funny questions or questions that were a little bit different to the style of ones that we were asked, okay? So first bonus question, when you came up against that aimbotter who destroyed your win streak, what was your initial mindset through it all? And to follow up on it, how do you think they could minimize hackers and cheaters in multiplayer? So to anyone who didn't know, we went on a 357 win streak on Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and we lost it to an aimbotter on shipment. What I mean by aimbotting, for anyone who doesn't play Call of Duty, is somebody who cheated to win, somebody who instant locks to headshots, somebody you can't kill. They ended up getting 30 kills in a row and ended up nuking the map, and we ended up losing by default. Disgusting. Just watch. Just watch. I could not actually believe it. I could not believe it. I'm fucking livid. So in regards to that, my initial mindset was, you know, obviously within the first few minutes I was fuming, and it kind of made me just very unmotivated to do any more win streaks or anything like that. After around an hour or so, I kind of, you know, and that's all it took for me. About an hour or so after I tweeted it, got my, you know, frustrations out, and we ended up blowing up all over the internet, which is pretty crazy, and things definitely happen for a reason. But in regards to that, yeah, it was very frustrating, but it's important to keep your mindset intact. We cracked on, we kept going, and look now, I'm currently sitting at 438 win streak. On the most part, cheaters and hackers have been nullified. I know Call of Duty have been doing a lot of action in terms of banning people, in terms of putting in more anti-cheat systems. I'm sure they're going to learn this for future games, especially now that cross-play is a thing. So we're going to see a lot more, hopefully, anti-cheat stuff coming in. And yeah, I just want them to keep looking at it, reviewing it, and making sure that they're staying on top of it. In regards to me and my mindset, it was to keep going, keep pushing, and now we've been rewarded and we're on an highest ever win streak. Next question, well, who is my gaming idol? If I had to pick one, probably someone like Dr. Disrespect, purely because I love his production value, I love his attitude, the way he is, just his persona, and yeah, he just really motivates me to keep you know, pushing myself every day. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, this is G Fuel, so big up to Dr. Disrespect. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You're an absolute beast. Next question. Are you going to get the Stallion logo on your car and seat covers? So we joke about this on stream all the time. You know, when I eventually rolling around in my Lamborghinis and whatnot, I want my Stallion logo on my car and seat covers. You're damn right we're going to do that. You're damn right we're going to do that. If I ever get the chance to do that, if I ever get, you know, rich enough to do that, I want a Stallion branded car, baby. You're going to know when it's me. Stallion number plate and everything would be awesome. Next question, do you have any pre-stream rituals? The only ritual that I've got before a stream is listen to an absolute wobbler of a tune. Something that is just really like energetic, makes me feel good about myself. You know, I'm putting the tunes on, I'm bopping my hair, and I've got the gun fingers rolling and all that kind of stuff, you know. That's probably my only pre-stream ritual. Oh, and top up on G Fuel. Use code Stallion. Next question, do you think that streaming as a whole has changed you as a person? Absolutely. It's made me more confident in myself. It changed my whole life, man. It changed my career. It put me in a career that I thought was, it was okay. Just kind of did it day to day, to a career where I wake up every day. I bless the Lord and say thank you for everything that he's given me, and put myself into a career where I have the most fun that I've ever had in my entire life. Streaming has changed my whole life. Next question, what's the one thing that you want in life? Happiness. And I mean that from every respect to the word. It's just happiness, and through my career, make sure that my family and future wife and everybody's looked after, and all the OGs who've stuck by me ever since day one get their rewards someday. Next question, are you only going to stream Call of Duty or branch out to other games in the near future? Another good question. So right now, and as of the near future, Call of Duty is definitely going to be my only focus. When the new Halo comes out later this year, so that's Halo Infinite. Halo is another one of my favorite franchises alongside Call of Duty. If Halo Infinite is a really good and well-established game with cross-platform and proper ranks and leveling systems, then Halo may go alongside Call of Duty. As of right now, Call of Duty is the only idea that I've got, and it's the only game and only franchise that I'm going to be sticking in. Two more final questions. Number one, what code on G Fuel? Code Stallion. Get your damn discount. Thank you to anybody who's been using code Stallion on G Fuel. And final question to wrap the show up. Pineapple on pizza? Hell no. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two about myself today. If you've got any other questions, please post them down in the comments. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give me any kind of constructive, you know, criticism, any feedback on any of my other videos as well. Thank you so much for your support, and have a fantastic day.